All right, you guys, welcome to the Hive Huddle. We have lots of new faces that are popping on. We even have some newbies that are just getting started that might be hopping on a little bit late. But this is our weekly team call that we have. We come together, we just kind of reset, we learn, we collaborate together. And tonight we have a very special guest on with us. Sometimes we get to do those types of things. I've had my eye on Addison for a while. I keep seeing her name pop up over and over and over because here's the deal. She's doing the right thing. And so over and over last month, I could see this name and I'm like, I freaking love that. I don't know about you guys, but like I've been here for 12 years. I love seeing new names on the leaderboards that are consistently enrolling. And what that means is, you guys, this business always works. It always does. And we were just talking about that, her and I, and we're like, if you trust the process and you put in the work and you show up, not only does this business work, but it will bless you beyond belief. So tonight we have Double Diamond Addison with us. And like I said, she's been a top enroller. She's been recognized for doing multiple 4 and 3s. And if you remember, last month we had our sizzle bonus. And she didn't just earn one of those, she went out and decided to earn 2. So if you want to go ahead and do the math on that sucker, I would say she's a pretty good cat to be copying and learning from, because she is enrolling both loyal customers and distributors. And that is exactly what you need to be doing here. So Addison, will you just tell us a little bit about how you found it works, how long you've been in, kind of where you started and what it's done for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in for 2 years now, and I actually watched my enroller for 2 years as well, which is absolutely insane. She followed up with me for 2 years, which I just find insane. So I had just graduated college, my first year of college, I guess you could say. And I was a college athlete. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was just like, I want to make money right now. I was 19 years old, living in my parents' basement. I was working 3 to 4 jobs. I had found a job in the medical field, but it wasn't a really good job. I was very underpaid and overworked. I was working night shifts, I was a nanny, and I was doing Uber Eats delivery. So I was very busy, and I could have easily said, like, I don't have the time to do anything else, which I didn't, honestly. But I watched her for 2 years. I posted haps for her, probably over 30. Yeah, I was that girl that posted 30 haps for her. She followed up with me about the business opportunity because I had asked her about it so much, but she followed up with me for 2 years. And at work one day, I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with this lifestyle. I need to pay bills. I need to be able to make my own money, because even though I was working 3 to 4 jobs, I was broke. I was so broke. And so I ended up joining the business. And since joining, I've been able to move out of my parents' house. I paid off my car in full, so I don't have a car payment anymore. We were able to get a new vehicle last month, which is really exciting. I was able to earn a free trip to Jamaica. I'm earned the elite experience. I was number 5 last time I checked, but we'll just see now. And then
Oh
I've
my
also been able to
gosh.
earn over 50,000 plus in bonuses. I've been able to grow my faith, make lifelong friendships, just so much. And I'm actually about to retire my boyfriend from his 9 to 5, which is really exciting. But that's a little bit about me and my story and what It Works has done for me.
Okay, you have to tell us. So give us a little bit of your timeline. First of all, we say this all the time, but busy people, you guys, they freaking do well with this business. And I think that's the thing that you always have to remember is how much power you have when you are using 15 minutes here or 20 minutes of waiting here, or even just getting up 30 minutes early and staying up a little bit later. Like those minutes count in your day. And that is, I see this all the time, even outside of what we do, but like that's where people build their dreams and like conquer goals. It's not always in their 9 to 5. Like that's really what kind of what's supporting you. But really to build the life you want is like committing to using some of those waiting times. So will you just kind of give us a timeline when you started, like what that looked like? Did you just get off and start running right off the bat? Or like how long did it take you to get to double diamond? Because you're a double diamond now. Number 5 in the lead experience, like that's freaking incredible. Like that means you're going to the ranch. You know
I
that.
don't know the final results. We'll see commission, but
No, we
hopefully
don't know
number
quite
5.
yet, but like you're in there, you're in the running. Okay. That's a pretty good, you got a pretty good buffer for that. So yeah,
Yeah.
just give us a little bit of timeline and how building looked to get to the point of where you're at right now.
For sure. So when I first joined, I mean, I forgot to mention, I quit all my 3 to 4 jobs.
I
Obviously, I
was
do
gonna
this full
ask
time
that.
now. Yeah. I quit all my 3 to 4 jobs, and that was only 2.5 months in. And if you know, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you worked in the medical field. Wasn't that plenty of money? No, it was not plenty of money. And I was working night shifts on top of that. So I quit all of my jobs about a month and a half in, and then I went Ruby in 3 months. And then after that, I hit Emerald a month after. 2 months after that, I hit Diamond. And then about 5 months after that, I hit Double Diamond. And we're actually going triple this month, which is really exciting. But something that I did is I didn't even look at anyone else. I was like, I know I'm a small town girl. I'm from a really small town. I'm talking about probably like 800 people. I know I'm a small town girl, but I need money. And I had always known I was a hard worker. And if you're a hard worker and you can outwork anyone, like your success is going to show when it comes down to it. And that means waking up earlier. Keep in mind, I was working at 5 a.m., like 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. I'd go do Uber Eats delivery driver in between my night shift. And then I go to night shift. I barely had any time to sleep, but I made it work because I knew how much I wanted an extra income and I knew how much I wanted to move out of my parents' basement, how much I wanted to do this, how much I wanted to do that. So I really had my why in place every single time I woke up at 4 a.m. in the morning to go into work.
So when you're doing that, which is, I love all that because here's the thing, you guys. So many times I think it takes a little bit of time to understand like what we have our hands on here. So if it takes a hot second to get your first perks member or to hit one of your first promotions, that's okay. Like good things take time, right? But also like where in that time schedule, like what did it look like building your business while you were working those jobs? Because that's where most people start. Like I was also in the medical field and working night shift. Like I tell people all the time, I'm like, you guys, I was sleeping when people were mostly up. And it's like those things don't stop you unless you let them, right? So unless, and like you said, your why has to be so strong. We talk about that every day. And I tell people, I'm like, your why is going to change. It's going to evolve. And you want it to because that's what keeps you motivated. That's like for me, I've been here for 12 years, right? And so tell us what it kind of looked like of putting in that work while you were working those 3 to 4 jobs before you could start kind of dropping those off.
Yeah, for sure. So the reason I earned my 4-in-1 so fast is because I needed that money back right away. I know a Triple Diamond, my leader, she earned her first customer like the second month. So it doesn't matter if you earn your first 4-in-1 in the first week or the first like month, it really doesn't matter. But when I was working all those jobs, I had to have a daily to-do list set out to where on my bathroom break, I was working. And I was doing that because I wanted a certain amount of income. You can't expect to put like 50% of work in and get this big paycheck because that's just not how it works when it comes down to it. Even if you work a 9 to 5, if you work 2 hours, you're not going to get a full-time income. That's just what it comes down to. But when I was working throughout the day, I'd wake up at 4 a.m. I'd go into work. I'd do my self-development because that was really important to me at the time. I told my leader it was fake. I didn't believe in it until I tried it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is my holy grail. I will wake up early for self-development. So I woke up really early for my self-development. I spaced out all my tasks in between my bathroom breaks. So this wasn't me like, oh, I don't have any jobs at all. I'm just doing this full time right away. No, I had 3 to 4 jobs. I was spacing out my messages. I was spacing out my interacting. I was spacing out, hey, I need to text my leader and talk with her and ask what I can do next. Because I was the type of girl that was like, okay, what can I do next? Because I need this money back ASAP. So I spaced out everything all throughout my day. And that's how I got my whole entire daily to-do list in. So that weekend before I went to work, I'd be like, okay, what does my work week look like this week? And I would make a plan before. Because if you don't have a plan and you have maybe 2 kids and you have 3 jobs and you're running around, how do you expect that daily to-do list to deliver for you? So that's what I did all throughout the week with my 3 to 4 jobs.
Yeah, and I think that's so important in just goals. I mean, all the time, right? Is looking ahead. And I tell them, I'm like, look at your entire month, right? Like I have a snapshot of like each kid's schedule. And then I go week by week from there because we all know things pop up and do that. But the thing is if you don't plan the time to work your business, your time is just going to go to other things. And then you're going to feel frustrated because you're like, oh my gosh, you're thinking about working, but you're actually not taking the action. So your mind is busy there, but you're not actually doing the work that brings you those enrollments. So I love that you said that. And you guys, we hear so many stories about people working multiple jobs or they're single moms or whatever it may be, and they still all find a way for it to work. So just know that like if you want it to work, and your why really means something to you, you will get this to work. Like this business works wonders. Like it is amazing. And which is why we get so excited to share it and be able to share people's success stories like this, just to understand that it's for anybody who is wanting more and is willing to work hard to create that. Like you got it all here. So, okay, let's talk about that though. So we'll just take last month. What did it look like? So you completed, how many was that? 6, 4, and 3s? You
Yes.
maybe even did more than that. I don't know. Because we got to do like the
Yeah.
$200, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so you did 6 of those. So, y'all, I want you to pop in the chat first of all. You have to know how many you're going for. And we've already talked about this. So, I want you to share in the chat how many 4 and 3s you're going for. So, that means how many $200 bonuses that you are wanting to earn this month with the promotion that our company is running for you. But then I want you to tell them, what are you doing? What are you doing to get those enrollments? What does your little task list look like? So that way they kind of have an idea of being like, they can either check themselves and be like, okay, I'm doing this, but maybe I need to do more. Or they can be like, holy cow, I'm only posting or I'm only doing stories. Like, that's just not enough, right? We all know that the money comes in the messaging. You have to follow up. She's on here. Somebody followed up. Who did you say enrolled you?
Jessica Satterley.
Okay, Jessica. I was like, I missed that first part at first. 2 years. Y'all, that's where you first need to check yourself. Are you following up with your list of people that you talk to that show interest for that long? Like, that's a wake up call. That could be one of your double diamonds, one of your top enrollers, one of your elite experience people, right? And so it just know, like, it takes people to get to a certain point where they're like, okay, enough is enough. I'm ready to be bold and do something I've never done before, right? So 2 years. So yeah, share with us, what is your action list that are like your non-negotiables every single day to be able to pull in these enrollments?
For sure. So right when I wake up, I really try to do my self-development. So as soon as I wake up, I do my self-development, whether that be reading a book, listening to a podcast. It doesn't have to be super fancy. I just know if I start my day with something that's going to feed my brain, I'm going to have a good day. So I usually read my devotional and I journal. And then I'll go over to Instagram and I'll interact on there. Interacting is so important. So I interact on Instagram, I interact on Facebook. And then back in the day when I was just a newbie, I would follow 25 to 50 people every single day on Instagram. My reels have kind of organically done that, been able to grow my network by itself. So I don't do that as much anymore. But if you're a newbie, that's so important. I still friend on Facebook. So I friend 25 to 50 people every single day on Facebook. And that's something that I'm really honing in on right now. Something that our team is huge about is posting 2 reels a day. That's like the bread and butter and the sweet spot. My network grew over 8,000 followers. So I was at 8,000 and then now I'm at like 50 plus K or whatever, just from posting 2 reels a day. And that's from product reels blowing up. That's from DT reels blowing up. That's where all my DTs came from last month. And I averaged 30 DTs almost every single month because of video content. Obviously PMs too, but DTs is where it's at for me. I also post 2 TikToks. So in the beginning, I was living in my parents' basement and I had my ring light out and I was posting 2 TikToks still. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to look super aesthetic or cute. Just get it up. That's really important. So I post 2 TikToks every single day. I've also been leaning towards Facebook Reels. So I post 2 Facebook Reels a day. Sometimes it's just one, but that's something else I do. I follow up on every single platform because I'm living proof. I was following up with for 2 years. So I
Yep.
follow up on Instagram, Facebook Messenger, iMessage. I follow up everywhere. Something else that I do is I send out 25 messages on Facebook for HAP. I do TikTok HAP as well. So that's really been organically growing my Facebook because I have them post a reel and then I say, hey, do you want a second entry on Facebook? And I've been getting a lot of network from that. So that's something else I do. I send out 30 messages on Facebook for PMs just because I feel like I have a lot of DMs from my reels on Instagram for PPMs. So that's something else I do. I'm on my story every single day, no matter what. I'm posting my coffee story. It's of myself. It's not of anyone else unless we have a deal going on and Jess made a really cute story and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to use that. So I'm showing up on my story every single day. People want to see you using the product. They want to see your results. If you're brand new, that's fine. My networks blew up with other people's results, but I think it's so important to show yourself using the products on your story. So Facebook story and Instagram story every single day. I go through my followers on both platforms because I think it's really important to clean out your following. Another thing I do is I post on Facebook and then I also boost my posts on Facebook as well. That's kind of my daily to-do list, what I do every day.
So when you're saying boosting, like you go back to some of your old posts and you comment in the comments. Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking about?
so
Yeah.
for the special today, for the free shipping, we had a
Yeah.
boost for that, and that's what I did on all my old posts. Sometimes I do it on hat posts too.
And you guys, I think that that's kind of a newer task that people have been implementing. And I don't mean newer like just in the last few days, but like over the last few months. And really, it's starting to work very well for people because when we're using social media is such a gift, right? But it's always changing. So we're all like, I say this, like we all got to be in the game together trying to figure it out because no one's like telling Addison, hey, this changed on the algorithm. Like you may want to go do this. Or no one tells people like that, right? Like they're like, hey, you got to figure it out. But I will say, like, first of all, you're not doing it for the number of likes or like interactions. Like I tell people that all the time. If that's what like motivated me to show up the next day to post, oh my gosh, like I wouldn't. The other thing is I have awesome people who are like customers who've been ordering for months on months that never have commented on anything, but they see my stuff. Right. And so, and I can see them in stories, right? I can see who views my stories consistently. When you're doing product messages, would you be willing just to share what you message for those? In the
Yeah, so I
or
can
you
actually
can send
probably
it.
just hop on my phone and then I can send it, or I can just send it to you
Yeah,
in
that's fine.
Messenger. But this is what I'm sending on Facebook. I don't send on Instagram because my Instagram DMs are crazy. I feel like I need to be more organized about that. But this is what I'm sending on Facebook, and it's a really simple message, and it's not like super, oh my gosh, here's some products, like buy them. It's really sweet. So I went ahead and send it to you, but it says, hope I'm not bothering you, but I've seen we've been friends on Facebook for a while now, and I appreciate it so much. I was curious if you would like to be a product reviewer for me. And then it has a little bit else, but you can send that on Instagram too. It's been working for my girls on Instagram. I just send it out on Facebook though.
Okay. And then how are you doing host to post on TikTok? I know I'm gonna get that. And TikTok's not like my super strength. So I love Reels, but and I love that you're giving numbers because I think that's important for people to see too. Because I think so many times you can also be like, oh, I feel like I've messaged everybody. Like we hear people say that all the time. I'm like, if you messaged everybody the next day, I want you to focus on adding your 25 to 30 people multiple times throughout the day because now it's time to grow your network or sit down and produce a couple reels, right? In so how do you do the post to post on TikTok?
Yeah, so that's actually what got me my 4 and 3s last month, and it's what my team has been doing great at. It's been blowing up for them too. So not just me. But I post something on TikTok. I can always send the wording, but it blows up every single time. It gets over 1,000 comments every single time. And then I direct them to my Instagram. They post a reel for me that grows my network naturally, that grows my views naturally. And then some people will comment on that too about the products, but it's usually a product reel. So they post that to their story. And then I say, thank you so much. Would you like a second entry on Facebook? They friend me on Facebook. They throw up a coffee post for me. It's usually just the OG coffee post for Facebook app. And then that's what I do for TikTok app.
Okay, y'all, there's your answer. Okay, I have a couple questions in the chat. And they said, how do you choose who you message when you're sending out product messages?
So something I do, which I think it's so important to clean out your network because of this. If you've already messaged someone twice, or if I've already messaged someone twice, I usually just unfriend them because obviously they're not interested if they haven't answered you. But I just go down my friends list and I see if I've messaged them before. If I've messaged them about host posts but not the products, I'll message them about the products. If I've messaged them about the products but not host posts, I'll message them about host posts.
Yes, I love that. And I think I say that all the time. I'm like, you guys, my messages never run dry because between things that corporate's offering, between other things that you can offer the business, you can offer the products, you can offer to get into your giveaway, whatever it may be. Like there's always really something. But like you said too, don't be afraid, you guys, to like unfriend people or unfollow people. Like this is what you're here to do for most of us. That's why we are tuning in every single day into social media is because we're here to grow a business. We're here to help people. We're here to um give that solution to whatever they have that they want, their problem, right? And so we're able to do that. Let me see. It says, "Oh, do you message people you know or you message just anyone?"
So I just messaged my friends list. So
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of my friends list. And if you're a newbie, you might know all of your friends list. It doesn't really matter if you know them or not, in my opinion, because everyone's looking to upgrade their health or everyone's looking for a chance to win money or everyone's looking for a side income. So I don't really think that matters. But a lot of people I talk to daily, I don't know at all.
Okay. See, so you don't really know them. And here's the thing too is as you message, and Addison, you can build on this too, but I think one of the important things about showing up is, first of all, when you show your face and you're showing yourself using the products, you you don't want to be salesy, you guys. That's one of the first things that you can do just to be genuine. They're like, hey, who the heck is this Addison girl? She's asking me about these products. I'm gonna go see her page. Guess what? She's sharing what she loves. She's sharing what she's using. She has before and afters up. Like, they're gonna see it. They're not like, oh, she's just messaging me for a buck or an enrollment. Like, she actually likes what she's talking about and she's using it herself. So again, I always see this, like, people are like, I don't want to be salesy or I don't want to be spammy. Then show yourself. Like, that's one of the best things that you can do. And honestly, it warms things up. And if you're taking time to interact, you guys, you can build a relationship and some trust between strangers quite quickly on social media these days. They're also asking, when they're posting a reel for you for host to post, are you like giving them a reel that becomes their own, or like their own TikTok, or they're sharing your reel or TikTok to their story?
So they're just sharing it to their story and then they tag me.
There you go. Perfect. Okay. You guys, do you have any other questions when it comes to her task list? Now's the time to pick her brain. You guys, they've been asking, and when I said your name, they're like, oh, I'm like, you better blow up that chat. Now's your time to do this. Are you batching videos when you're doing your reels? How
So I
so
don't
how are you
personally.
kicking out 2 reels a day, and how are you teaching like your new people to do that?
Yeah, for sure. So now I feel like I do a lot of batch content, but I did a lot more when I first started because I was working 3 to 4 jobs. But I tell my girls the same thing. Put your hair in a bun, put a nice shirt on, get some good lighting. I mean, the ring light from Walmart is like $10. So I tell them do batch content and then schedule out your posting when it comes to Reels and TikToks because you're gonna get stressed out and it's gonna be Friday and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I don't have anything to post, so I'm just not gonna post. And then the algorithm will be off and then you won't get another reel up until Monday. So batch content is so important and I still do it to this day. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I just think it's a good use of time, right? Like, it kind of helps you out. And so that your day doesn't get away from you. Okay, let me see. Oh, how much time? Okay, when you first started, so when you were going Ruby and Emerald and you were working, how much time do you think that you spent a day working your business to get to that point?
So
Like,
honestly, probably every spare hour I had, like every second I was trying, like in between clients or patients, I was trying to message us and be like, okay, what do I need to do? Because I had a huge goal. I knew I had to put a lot of work in because I wanted to go fast. Everyone has different goals, you know what I mean? So that was just my goal, but it's not like I was working every second of the day. I just did intentional work. When I was working intentionally. I didn't look at anything else when I was sending out those 25 messages. I didn't look at anything else when I was intentionally scrolling. So I think that's really important too, is to be intentional about your work, especially if you have 3 kids and 3 jobs, or if you are in college and you have a job. I think intentional work is so important.
yeah. And you just hear it over and over. Is she scheduling the time to work towards her goals? I mean, I think that's just one of the most important parts about it, is that this is a priority to you. So you also have to prioritize time for it, right? Like, that's just kind of goes with it. So, um, tell me what you're doing for duplication within your new distributors that you're bringing on. I think we have a lot of new distributors that are on here. So, like, any tips that you're like, this is what I give to my new distributors, or like what you have them doing, they would just love to hear that.
Yeah, for sure. So a big thing I always say is video content. I always just scream video content, but that's something that they do. And if they're scared to throw out video content, I'm like, okay, here's a video you can use. Just make it super simple. You can put it on Facebook, you can put it on Instagram. I'm very like laid back about it. I'm not like, oh my gosh, you need to post this right now, but also host to post. So I have them post the donut post. I don't know if you've seen the donut post. It's like
Yeah.
an OG post though. It's basically like comment your favorite flavor. I also have them post an Instahap story. So that's a little different. I know not everyone does that, but I have them post an Instahap story and that gets them a lot of swipe ups really fast. So that's something else I do. But basically, I just put my daily to-do list in the training and then I train them how to do that. So messaging, following up, all the things. I give them follow-ups. If something's working for me, I'm giving it to a newbie. because if it's working for me, it's going to work for a newbie. So,
Yes. And then just like, I'm sure you do this, but like setting expectations, right? Like knowing not everyone's going to respond to every single message. Y'all, that's part of it, right? Not everybody's going to say yes. I think, and then just like you said, clearly it was very well stated to you when you came in. Like, if this is your goal, it's going to take work. Like, and I always said this when I first started this business, like, I knew what my job was giving me. And I think this is such a good thing to think to yourself or like even ask your distributors, but like you know where your life is before you've said yes to this. And there's something that you're wanting to fill. So for me, I was just so excited to put in the work because I wanted what was coming on the other side of that. Like I was like, I already know what I get by not doing this, you know? And I was like, I'm ready for more. So again, just knowing you guys, like, what is it that's driving you like to your core, you know? Okay, so duplication, you pretty much just have them doing what you're doing and you're having
and
them
they do a practice list too. So reaching out to family and friends, and I always tell them, this is practice. If no one answers, that's totally fine. This is you just getting the hang of sending out messages or talking to someone in conversation. And I always, always, always tell them, I also get on a one-on-one call, but I always tell them to send me screenshots of everything. Because
Yes.
if you feel like you're, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous to blow up my leader's phone, that's what she's there for. That's her job. So don't be afraid to blow up your leader's phone. But I always tell them that on our one-on-one call, on our Zoom call. It's the first Zoom call. I discussed the 4-in-1. I've been kind of going into the 4-in-3, but 4-in-1, 4-in-3. I talk about their schedule with them. I talk about their why, and I answer any questions that they have for me.
Love it. And how long do you feel like it is?
The Zooms that I
Yeah,
have,
your first one.
probably like 8 minutes, 5 minutes. I make it super fast because I talk really fast, but
You're like, listen, follow along. We're here to do some stuff. Yeah, no, that's and I love that. Just to like from there, it's really like you got to just start doing the things because that's what's going to help us teach you along the way. Okay, number one of our other questions was I want you to share how important it was for you to plug in, like to calls that corporate was doing and trainings and just Zooms that Jess was doing and meeting your mentor like halfway for the success that you've had because that's a big deal. Like our double diamonds, it's crazy to even watch how the income has shifted with these ranks as we've added different things to our compensation plan. Like that's a lot of money, right? So to just explain how important that is. I think sometimes people are like, oh, I don't have time for a call, or I don't, you know, or I already know things, and they're like, I don't need another call. And it's like, okay. So I just want you to share like how that has played a part in your success.
so it's definitely what took me Ruby, what took me Emerald, what took me Diamond, what took me Double Diamond, because it's a self-development in a sort of a way. I mean, when you're hopping on a Zoom, you're plugged in, you know what's going on. If you don't hop on the Sunday Night Live call and they announce a free product, well, you're going to be behind because you don't know what the free product is. If you're not talking to your leader all the time or asking questions in the chat on a Zoom, how are you going to be plugged in? And I also feel like it helped me keep my vision. It helped me keep my why because I knew there was a community of girls that were running towards their why. So that honestly made me really fired up. Every time I get on Zoom, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're all fired up. We're all going towards something. So being plugged in is so important, but also corporate is giving you so many tools. When they're putting something out, they're putting it out for a reason. On the road to VIP, they're putting out those winning Wednesdays, the Monday motivation. Your leaders are putting out those Zooms for a reason. And like tonight, what's working for me is going to work for you. So you could get one tip off of this Zoom and mass enroll this week just because you took that one tip off of this Zoom. So that's why getting on Zooms is so important and being plugged in is so important.
Yeah. And I think too is just also like you said the vision part of things. I don't think that I even understood what this business could potentially do until I was on these it was a Monday call too. We called it something different back then, but I remember and that's all we had. We didn't even have some of this other stuff that we do now. But it's all we had. And I was like, I would get off that and I'm like, oh my gosh, like people are buying homes. They are doing all these things. And it just like had me so freaking fired up because I was looking at my goals and I'm like, that's what I want to do. Like I want to travel and pay in cash. I want to pay wedding or pay my wedding in cash, right? Or my honeymoon or whatever it was. And so yeah, I just think it helps so much with vision. And then like you said, literally taking tips. Like there might be things that you know, but I always say when you're getting on a Zoom, it's either going to reiterate that you are doing the right things and you either just need to do a little bit more or you need to stay consistent and trust the process. Or it's going to kind of be a wake up call and be like, you know what? I'm not putting in the work that it requires to go emerald to make 4 figures a month in this business, or it kind of, or it's like, guess what? Time to get uncomfortable. I'm not showing my face. I'm not taking video and putting it on my stories. I haven't even done reels. Like, you got to kind of have a realization with yourself to be like, how do I fill the gap of where I am and where I want to be? Um, they want you to put your TikTok in the chat. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, she'll put that in there, and then I'm going to see what you guys go ahead and ask questions. I wanted to leave some time for questions for you guys. Grace, I'm going to share her message. She just sent that to me, I think. And then they are saying, are you okay, Quita? I just want to make sure I'm asking right. When you say, are you having everyone share the coffee and aloe duo? Do you mean like her new distributors or do you mean for host to post?
Because most of her reels are the morning duo. So I'm wondering if she's having everyone share that or like her newbies, is she allowing them to find products they want and share their own or everyone's sticking to the same thing?
Yeah, so they can share their own reels. Some people like the 30-day gut reset, some people like the morning trio, some people like the hair care. So whatever they're posting on their own page, I say, hey, they can post that. And it's also their results most of the time. If you don't have your own results, it's totally fine because I didn't have my own results in the beginning either. And my TikToks blew up, not only because of Hat, but also because of other people's results. So whether that be their own results on Reels or other people's results, I'll have them post that to the person to post it to their story.
How do you add friends without overthinking it? So like when you're going on Facebook and you're adding people, what's kind of like your routine for that?
So I go down my friends list and I go to someone's page. If I think they'd be good at the business or I think they'd be interested in a product, I go to their suggestions because most of the time, if you think they're going to be a good fit, they're going to have friends that are a good fit. So I go to their suggestions and I add that way.
Do you have trouble like adding people? Or do you have to do
So
like batches? I'm only asking this because mine just started doing that. Like it will even sometimes be with just like one. And then it's like, oh, you don't know this person, or it will be like you guys are probably all in groups. I don't know how we just randomly get added to groups these days on Facebook, but somehow mine's in there, but I've been using it to my advantage. However, it doesn't like even in groups, it will say, hey, I don't think you know this person. You can't send this request. So how are you kind of overcoming that?
So I reached the friend limit, which I think is like 4,000, and then I changed my account to public and I haven't had a problem since. I don't know if that's the reason why, but I really try to add 15. And for some reason, if you're adding consistently, like every day 15, which is so weird, sometimes it gets iffy, which I
Mhm.
don't understand. I feel like repetition, they'd be like, okay, that's normal. But if I do 15 one day, I'm like, okay, maybe I should go down to 10. But usually I try to do 15 on Facebook because I feel like I've been getting some friends from my reels and host posts, but yeah.
Yeah. And so you feel like even when you're doing your reels, it's pulling in new network for you on all your platforms, right? Like TikTok, Instagram, and your Facebook.
Yes, because on my TikTok, I do have my Facebook and my Instagram linked. And then for Hap, they're posting that to their story. And I try to get up at least 15 a day. So on Instagram, that's a lot of people coming in.
Yeah.
Facebook, I'm really trying to go ham on Facebook right now because I feel like I've slowed down a little bit on there. But my goal when I was going really hard on Facebook was 10 a day. So I'm trying to get back to 10 a day on Facebook. But yeah, I feel like it's really growing my network.
Oh, see, that's so good. I think Reels is just such a great way to get your stuff seen by so much more. And if you guys don't know, like when you're switching your profiles over and you are public, if you're like weirded out by that, I promise you, I've been public for a really long time and like nothing weird has happened. And if it did or something scary was, I wouldn't be public. But I'm just saying, but it's kind of cool on Instagram. It shows you. So like if I haven't, and I'm not even doing 2 a day like she is, but if I haven't done reels in a little bit, it's wild. Your reach drops thousands. But if you are consistent, it's crazy. It like just continues to grow and grow and grow. So, again, reels. Remember, you also don't even have to put your face on there. Like you don't have to sing, you don't have to dance. I always say to this because we have all ages, right? There's young people, there's I'm 40 now, so that's kind of old. But anyways, I'm probably the oldest one on here, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, but I'm just saying you can literally be making your coffee, or you can be folding laundry, or you can be doing, like, you don't have to do any of those things, but you do have to do it. Like, so just do I always say start where you can, right? So I remember on stories, everyone's always like, oh my gosh, you're so natural when you're talking on stories and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but I wasn't at first. And I showed behind the scenes just like the other day. And I was like, you guys, I put little like post-it notes and I'm like, here's my 2 bullet points I'm going to share about this product during this story or whatever it is. It's like you just have to start doing it. Like you just kind of have to rip the Band-Aid off. And then I think somebody said 41. And then I think that when you start doing that, you just become more and more comfortable. Plus, I think what drives you more than anything is the results you start getting. And you kind of start being like, I don't even care. Like I tell people that I'm like, when I was promoting, our team was growing, our team was winning. I was like, do you think that I care what so-and-so thinks about what I'm doing? Or if I look funny or what? I don't even care. Like I'm doing way more than they are. So I think too, just check yourself a little bit. Okay. If you have any other questions, pop them in there. But Addison, is there anything else that we didn't go over for your, like, I just really want to share this. I feel like this really helped me or has helped my team recently that you want to leave them with? Y'all, green carpet is next month. This is a big month to be plugged in, focused, doing the work, planning where you're going to put your work in because you're setting yourself up for huge things come September.
Yeah, so getting in person is so important, which I did want to talk about this because I remember going to my first event, which was called Color Wars, and I literally slept on the ground. I didn't care. I ate McDonald's. I slept on the ground. I was like, I'm getting there. I was so broke, but I was so hungry to meet new people and all these new opportunities. So getting to your first event, it changed my life. It's so important being in person with like-minded people, and the energy in the room is just different. I mean, there's so many things that go on in Greek carpet. There's announcements, like you don't want to miss out on the announcements when it comes down to it. So getting in person is so important. I just want to talk about video content again. So I got over showing my face on Instagram stories, Instagram reels, just by not looking at the viewers and not looking at the likes. Because when it comes down to it, there are so many people scrolling on their phone. And also there's a statistic out there that shows that your followers don't even see your reels most of the time. It's just random people out there scrolling on reels. And I think it's like 80%. So just think about that. When you're like scared to post an Instagram reel, your followers most of the time don't even see it unless they go and stalk your page. And if they're stalking your page, they're probably interested in something. So that's a good thing. But and then on my stories, I used to get on my stories and talk a lot because I just ripped the Band-Aid off and I'm like, well, I did it once, so I'm going to do it every single day. And I just stopped looking at the story viewers. I just started posting. And then also I want to touch on TikTok. So in the beginning, I went double because of video content on TikTok. That's the reason I went diamond, double, emerald, ruby, because of video content on TikTok, and host to post like blew up for me. And so many people overcomplicate video content when it comes down to it. And I'm still doing the same thing. I'm outside using natural lighting. I'm doing a 3-second clip of myself. I'm showing results. And you also have to keep in mind, like, I went ruby and emerald with someone else's results. So if you have your own results, that's even better because that's also what took me to diamond and double diamond. So those are my few tips for video content, but video content can explode your business.
And I think like you guys even reuse some of your stuff. Like you're not putting out new stuff all the time. And you guys, Jen actually did a training on that of how simple that is and how they're doing that. And that one was like, it's like a 28-minute training and it's so good. So if you need that, we have that. But that's the other thing is like, you almost just have to know that every time you're putting out a reel or a TikTok, it's like new people are seeing it. So even though it's repetitive, it doesn't matter. It's still working. And I think that's one of the things too, you guys, you have to remember, like, she goes on and shares her coffee and her morning doodle every single day. She's going through and she's doing her reels, and they all kind of have the same, like, just behind them, right? Like about the products and different things like that. It's like That's clearly what people need. They need to see the consistency. They need to see the repetitiveness. And that's what, I feel like, again, it's either they're like, wow, she really loves this and now I'm getting excited about it, or I'm interested in it, or whatever it may be. But again, it's working. It doesn't have to be new stuff every single day. Or like you said, your house doesn't have to be perfect, or you don't, some people are like, I don't do very much, or I don't live in a pretty place. It doesn't matter. Do you know how interested people are in your day-to-day life? Like, I know that sounds weird, but people love watching that. I feel like I'm a mom. Like we are very routine over here. And so it's like it's not always something new, but it's like they don't care. So I think that's the other thing too, is like, no, you don't have to necessarily have ocean views or, crazy things going on or whatever it is, but like doesn't matter. People just love to see a little snippet of your life. Did the TikTok training. Now do it. Yeah. All right, you guys, do you have any other questions for her? Are we good? Thank you so, so much. I think it's so important for people to understand, like, you have your numbers, you have your plan, you show up, you do the things, and it's working, and you're going triple diamond this month. Like, that is wild and so freaking cool. So now you're going to have all of us cheering you on and ready to congratulate you when your team does that. So thank you so, so much, Addison.